What's going on, Big Sean Gamers? It's Spencer, and today we're going to be ranking all Cold War Zombies perks. If you haven't already, leave a like, subscribe, all that cool nonsense. Speaking of that, shout out to Solo2K, Ansley Bond, and also Korosai6. They subscribe to me, and if you do, I'll shout you out as well. Plus, I won't go to your house and only pour concrete mix in your ears while you sleep. So you better get on it. Like right now, you better do it. So on that, gamers, well, let's get it. To start us off, we have Tombstone, the worst perk in Cold War Zombies, and this isn't even... It's not even fair at this point. This could easily be one of the best perks in the game, but it isn't. It's so awful. There's no actual use for this perk, and overall it just sucks. I mean, the tiers for it are god awful, and I can sit here and tell you, I mean, tier 1, it allows the player to regenerate health while in shadow form. You see on the screen, you see this thing, yeah, that's shadow form for you. It doesn't really work. It's only useful in a couple situations, but half the time just use quick revive. Honestly, just use that. Tier 2, I mean, you get to increase the duration down for 60 seconds, so if you can't kill a zombie in quick revive, if it's too high around, this is a little bit better for that, but usually if you just have elemental pop trigger off, you'll be honestly pretty fine. Tier 3, you know, you get a tombstone if you die, which is only useful in co-op, so solo ultimately useless. Tier 4, you could spawn at the end of the round instead of the next. And then Tier 5, this is where the perk makes no sense. The players experience no perk decay when down with Tombstone Sorta, and always being lost when down. This just means, hey, instead of losing all your perks, you just lose Tombstone. But guess what? You lose every perk anyway. It's bugged, it's broken. For some reason, they haven't fixed it. Ever since this perk came out, it's been broken, and it still has. And I don't see it ever actually being a good perk anytime soon. It just costs extra money for extra perks, so why even pick up this garbage perk? To be honest, they could have put anything, but they put Tombstone. Can I just get an F for that? That's so sad. This just makes me sad to say, but Speedcoil is just not that good in Cold War. It's better than Tombstone, but genuinely, I don't get it that much, and the only reason I do get it, really speaking, is if I have like a wonder weapon, but hey, all of them are garbage in Cold War. So the thing about Speedcoil is, it used to make it 50% faster reload, which is amazing, right? Even if you have a fast mag, that's way faster than you can have it. But in Cold War, it's only about 33%, and unfortunately, when you just get this perk by itself, it only has 15%. You gotta upgrade it to make it a little bit quicker, but hey, after that, it's not even that good. Like the tiers itself, they aren't really good. The tier 1 allows players to swap weapons faster, which is pretty alright, you know, not awful. Tier 2 recharges the player's field upgrade 20% faster. This is the best part about it, to be genuinely honest. Tier 3, the perk increases to about 30%. Tier 4, the repairs on barricades and mystery boxes settles faster. And then finally, with Tier 5, you can run, sprint, whatever you want to call it, and reload at the same time, which is pretty alright. You know, it's not like the best, but it's pretty useful, especially on the higher rounds. But overall, just the main thing that makes me put this at like almost dead last is just the fact that Speedcoil used to just be so amazing, like so good, even in Black Ops 3, but it's just bad now, you know? It's just not that good. Something about it, they just really didn't make this perk like carefully. 30% only faster. Is it really worth spending like 5,500 or 6,000 points? Because there's about 9 perks in this game, and each one jumps about 500 points, so you're roughly spending almost 7,000 for your final perk. And Speedcoil can add on top of that, and usually, personally, I just don't get this one even near close to the first couple of perks I get. I usually get this last. Not very useful. I get Ring of Fire pretty quickly, but other than that, it's not the best, I would say. All right, baby, we got Elemental Pop, and now this is a little bit better than Speedcoil just because of one thing only: ammo mods. Ammo mods are what make weapons really good, like this Gala right here, and they can have also triggering other effects. Like say, for example, you have Shatter Blast, you could have Brain Rot occur on this weapon, or you can unfortunately have Cryo Freeze. So it's kind of like a risk reward. You can get some good ammo mods, but you can also get some really bad ones as well. But going off of the tiers itself, Tier 1, you get some extra equipment damage, has a small chance to apply a random base mod to the ammo mod. So like I just said, you know, Shatter Blast can be Brain Rot, etc, etc. Tier 2, reduced ammo mod cooldown by 20%. This is the actual more so useful tiers, I would say, because, you know, you can get extra ammo mod effects, and, you know, that means you can kill faster. This is really useful in higher rounds, where the weapons start to drop off, they're not so good, and the ammo mods are really what carries it. Tier 3 is when ammo mods, random ones, are applied. It uses the ammo mod's current skill tier instead of the base, which this is probably the best tier, I would say. I mean, tier 5 is pretty useful, but hey, this is what makes the most damage, I would say, especially for those higher rounds. On tier 4, you get elemental weakness to enemies increases by 50%, which is super useful. You know, it does a lot of extra damage. And if you pair this with Ring of Fire, it makes it even more powerful, which is insane. I don't know why they put this in the game. And then tier 5 is just electric carry. The more you spend in an ammo clip, like the more you shoot it, I should say, the more you'll have an electrical ring around you whenever you reload, which is actually kind of useful. It acts like a mini stun grenade if you think of it kind of like that. It's not the best, but it can save you quite a bit, and it's also really useful on insta-kill. You can kill enemies with this effect as well, which is super nice. And the more you spray, like I said, the more damage it does as well, and the more range it has as well, which is really, really cool. But, you know, it's just electric cherry at the end of the day. You know, it's good, but meh. Alright, for our 4th perk, it's Juggernaut, which is kind of a shame just because, you know, we're so used to it actually being good. And it's kind of a nice change of pace to say, but even then the tiers, they're pretty alright. You know, tier 5 is where this is really good, and also a couple of the other tiers. But going on, I mean, tier 1, you know, it increases the effects you have against reducing, I don't know how I'd say this, reducing the status effects. So like when Panzers or when Tempests shoot at you, you're not really as affected by 50%, which is pretty useful, I would say. You know, not the best, but think of this more so as like a tactical mask. Tier 2, on the other hand, you have armor plates replenished by 25%. So if you pick up a plate, it's going to replenish at 25% more, which is actually pretty useful. So when you kill armored zombies, megatons, panzers, you know, all those nonsense zombies, they're going to be giving you a little bit extra armor. Tier 3 increases the health by 100 points. So we actually get, you know, the actual Juggernog effect of about 250 hit points, which is pretty useful. Tier 4, on the other hand, increases armor by 25%. This where is actually sort of a little bit better, just because on the higher rounds, you know, you always have to run back and forth, and you know, just for armor, and it's really annoying, especially when you play D Machine, where there's literally only one buy station, which is really just upsetting, but that doesn't go against the perk itself. And then tier 5, instead of dying on a lethal hit, so say you're at 50 and the zombie does 50 damage, you know, you'll go on the ground, right? But rather, you'll actually go to 1 health left, and if you get hit after that, you're kind of toast. But it's more so just an extra hit you can take. If you get hit by a megaton, anything like that, you know, the status effect will bring you down to 1, but if you stay in it any longer than an extra second, you're gonna die. It's pretty alright, but it's useful against zombies rather than boss zombies, and that's where it actually is a little bit better. But that's why it's number 4 on our list. It could be a little bit better, but hey, I mean, it's Jug. I'm glad they didn't make it super broken or super underwhelming. For our 5th perk, we have Mule Kick, which is actually really surprising because Mule Kick is usually the most garbage perk within a game, and it's better than Juggernog, which is super different, I would say. But just some food for thought, I guess, right? But tier 1 for this is crafted equipment grants an additional equipment if available. So basically what it's saying is, hey, I buy a stem shot, right? I'm going to be able to get, say, instead of 1, I'm going to be able to get 2. In an outbreak, you can actually craft a way more amount. Like if you, say, like buy the grappling gun, you can get the whole 10 rather than just 2, which is broken. It's only like 250 salvage for the whole 10 pack, ultimately. Tier 2, on the other hand, is all enemies have a small chance to drop ammo. This is basically just Vulture Raid, so if you like Vulture Raid, hey, this perk's for you. I mean, it's pretty useful, especially when you have wonder weapons. You know, with nerfs on wonder weapons quite a bit, you'll run out of ammo. But hey, with this, you'll be able to use it as much as you possibly can and not have to spend like, I think like 10, 15 grand on some ammo, which is really upsetting. Tier 3, stowed weapons slowly refill ammo from stock. So if I say use my Skull Splitter to just empty clip, and I switch out to my Howler shotgun, right? It'll just refill the clip slowly. It's not going to be done within like, I think like 5 seconds. I think it takes about 15 seconds, which isn't too bad, but if you just manage your clips and make sure that you're not burning through them, you can save a lot of time by not reloading. 25% chance for tier 4 to keep non-retrievable equipment when used. This is just, you just throw something every 4 times, you'll keep it. For number 5, your 3rd primary weapon is recovered after repurchasing Mule Kick. So if you down and you have this perk, voila, you can literally just get it back. This is the one thing we've been asking for forever, and we finally got it. Let's get into the next perk though. Our next perk is going to be Quick Revive, and now it's actually really broken in this game, especially on those high rounds, but it's really weird. Like, it's really broken for a while, and then after a while, like, the last tier is really garbage because you can't really pick yourself up. But hey, I mean, it still works. But tier 1 for this is downed. Crawl speed is increased by 100%. This is useful for when you play co-op. Not really when you play solo. I mean, who's going to pick you up by yourself? You know, it's literally you. You know what I'm saying? Tier 2, reduce the delay before health regen by 50%. This is actually one of the reasons why it's so good. I mean, 50% extra regen, that's what makes it better than Jug. I mean, if you can recover your health really quickly, why even need to have a maximum, like, ton of health, you know? Tier 3, reviving ally also heals you to full health, and then tier 4, reviving ally will both increase movement speed for a limited time. If you pair this with stamina up, you're literally a god. I don't know what else to say. Tier 5, killing an enemy, you can pick yourself up from being downed. Now, this is really useful because you can actually get some of the perks that you have back with the decay meter system and Cold War. You're not really burning out on all your perks, but you're able to pick yourself up, which makes this actually really useful. And like I said, on the higher rounds, this is really kind of useless if you don't have like a ray gun or insta-kill active, or unless you get lucky with, say, you know, elemental pop and it kills an enemy with Shatter Blast or Brain Rot. You're kind of SOL, which makes it really bad. But let's get into the other perk. Now, honestly, this makes me want to throw up, but Death Perception's our next perk, and I can't believe it's made it this far. Death Perception is genuinely just awful, but the tiers that it brings are actually pretty useful, and this is what mainly makes it similar to Voltrade, but it doesn't have the ammo effect like Mule Kick does. Tier 1 for this is minimap update rate is increased. Really garbage. I mean, honestly, just horrible. Nothing really to be at use with this, to be honest. Tier 2, enemies give danger indicators when behind the player. So when you use this perk, there's going to be like little very tiny arrows that tell you if the zombies are behind you. Not really useful because you have a mini map, and also they're really tiny and they're gray, so you can't really see them. Say if you're playing like Firebase C or D Machine where the map's mainly gray or dull. Tier 3, gain 20% more looted salvage. This is where it's really good because you get a bunch of more salvage. So to put this into math terms, I could say if you use this with, say, I don't know, with a good amount of salvage, if you get about 1,000 salvage in a game, you'll actually have, with the use of this perk, you'll actually gain an extra 200 high salvage, which is pretty useful. Saves you a lot of extra time, especially on those higher rounds when you need, say, self-res, chopper gunners, cruise missiles. This is what makes this really good. It makes it really fast to gain some extra salvage. Tier 4, increased armor penetration damage by 10%. This is sort of useful. It's only 10%, so it's not that good. Kills armored zombies a little bit faster. Now, tier 5, nearby chest resources and item drops are key to eye line through the walls, which is pretty alright. You know, it's not the best, but if you miss out on some salvage, you don't have to just like kind of pick and choose where you go and hope you get lucky. You can actually see the drops, and it works also in Outbreak as well, so you can see chests through walls, all that nonsense. And also when you do objectives, you could see them through the walls as well. That's why Death Perception is on this tier spot. Our second perk on this is going to be Stamina Up, and as to no surprise, I mean, tier 5 for this is absolutely amazing, but that doesn't mean all the other tiers are not as well. Tier 1 for this increases the back pedal speed. So basically when you're walking backwards, shooting backwards, anything like that, you can get away from the zombies a little bit faster, which is pretty nice. And it also increases your aim, walking, and speed as well, which is pretty cool if you have a slow weapon. Tier 2 gives the player immunity to fall damage. Just think of this as PhD flopper. You can use this in Outbreak. You can use a jump pad and literally not even use a parachute. You can just flop right on the ground. You won't die. It's absolutely crazy. I didn't even know that until recently, but hey, it's actually pretty solid of a tier. Tier 3, the perk allows the player to walk faster when aiming down sights with their gun. Increases basically, you know, if you have a slow LMG, this helps it, you know, quite a bit. I don't know the actual percentage, but hey, it's there, you know. Tier 4, the player can use equipment while sprinting, so monkey bombs, decoys, stuns, Simtaxes, Gershes, you know, literally every single one you could think of, you can use it with this perk, and it makes it a lot better, especially when you're in a crammed little area camping. You can run in a little train really quickly, and voila, it's amazing. And this ties in fairly well with tier 5 of this perk. It removes the player's sprint speed fall off with the increasement of about 7%. Stamina Up's absolutely broken. I mean, I don't know what to say. I mean, the perk all around is amazing. Everybody loves it. Everybody gets it. I mean, there's no point why you wouldn't. Outbreak, round-based map, you're always going to get this perk, at least in your top 3, I would say, just because, well, it's that good. Let's get into number 1, though. Now, for tier 1, it's got to be Deadshot Actor. I mean, this thing is ultimately just double tap reskinned if you get your headshots, and for a good reason. I mean, this perk is absolutely amazing and is my favorite personally because it does so much, extra damage. Starting off with the tiers, tier 1 causes the perk to deal 100% extra critical damage if an enemy which is at full health. So if you just hit their noggin when they're at full health, if you say like an M16, a Howler, anything that's really strong, it can kill them first tap. Absolutely broken, really good, and it increases the damage technically by 100% if you get a headshot, which is really, really nice. Tier 2, the perk increased damage against armored pieces by 50%. 50. I want to stress that a lot because a lot of the armored zombies are absolutely just insanely overpowered, and if you have this, it can help you break armor and by a ton. I mean, if you pair this with death perception, you get about 60 extra percent, which is absolutely crazy. And if you do that headshot damage, you're going to be knocking them out pretty fairly quickly. Tier 3 decreases the amount of hipfire spread, which is absolutely nice. A little bit of extra hipfire. Tier 4, the critical damage increased by 10%. And Tier 5 causes each consecutive hit to do an additional 2% extra. So pretty broken. Explains why the perk is so good. But if you haven't already, leave a like, subscribe if you made it this far. You deserve cooking. I love you. But on that, gamers, I'll see you guys.